Hello, Twitch chat. Welcome to another fantastic Nova Cup performance. And with me today is someone I've tried to get to cast with me on Nova Cup for months. It is none other than Nick Tier. Nick Tier, welcome to the cast. Hello, how are you?
Bhagwan, I'm good. I'm a very busy man, but just for today, I've made a special appearance.
It's just absolutely incredible, and myself and the viewers alike are thrilled and appalled in equal measure to have you here with us. So that's amazing. Now, can you maybe give us a bit of a story of how you got into Legion Tower Defense the Second, and why it is that you learnt as much as you have and climbed as quickly as you have? Like, did you have any kind of insider knowledge? Were you trained by a master of the game, or how did that work?
I think, if anything, I've actually been held back because of the person who introduced me to Legion CD. Um, got a bit of a got a bit of a dragging into the game by obviously yourself,
Yeah,
or aerodynamic of the two brothers here. Um,
aerodynamic.
yeah, I had to find a game to play. Used to be a bit of a no-lifing Dota player, and
Hmm.
yeah, which is just an awful toxic game.
Yeah,
Got dragged to that by you as well, really. I'm
I'm
better
just
than you at that. You know.
yeah. That's
So
that's
I had to
true.
follow you to Legion, and as soon as I've beaten you in rank in Legion, then we'll be on to another game, won't we?
I mean that you're still a little ways off that mark for now. But step one, get into the game. We've managed that, and you've climbed pretty nicely. You hit 2,700 last season, which is pretty nice, and you're top 50 currently on the ladder, so you're doing pretty well. So step two, get better than your brother, is not quite achieved, but it's well underway. But most importantly is that we get the brother buff when we duo on the ladder.
It's not
The
a buff.
the brothers
It's not a buff.
the brother debuff,
Yeah.
absolutely undefeated, like 2-1 record this season.
Quality.
But, Nick Dia, enough about our Legion escapades. Time to talk about the games we have, and what a game we have for the first semi final. We have Abraseat, a team that really needs no introduction, but I feel like doing one anyway. That is King Dans, possibly the most decorated Legion player of all time. He is the GOAT. He is finished like first place on the ladder every single season since the game began. He's won every single tournament going, and he just keeps on winning these Nova Cups, regardless of how heavy his teammate might be. Speaking of which, Widdowson is no slouch himself when he's on form. He is clearly one of the best Legion players of all time as well. So between them, King Dans and Widdowson, really a duo to fear. They won something like half of the cups last year. They've won both of them so far this year, but let's see if their competition can knock them off their perch, because in this first semi final, they already have a tough matchup to begin with. They're going to go up against Adams and Chuvis, who are playing the almighty Slackers team banner. And a bit of an interesting match there as well, right? Because, of course, Widdowson and Adamus, they used to be teammates together. They played as the Banana Boys back in the Legion in-house league days, and now they have to face off against each other. So do you think there's going to be any kind of dynamic there with those two playing against each other?
Oh, absolutely. Even if that's completely not the case, I think we better make sure that word is made. I mean, who cares about the accolades, the money? This is all about who is the better banana boy, and we're going to find that out here today.
Oh, absolutely. And anyone who's had the privilege of watching a Widdowson stream when he eats one of those bananas will understand just how much of a banana boy he truly is. Terrible taste in music, though, has to be said.
Yeah, I think out of the four players here today, yeah, Widdowson does clearly stand out as the worst music taste. But we don't have to listen to that here, so it's all about the gameplay.
Absolutely. And speaking of gameplay, do you have a favourite out of these teams? Are Abraseat going to steamroll their way into the grand finals, or will the almighty Slackers be able to knock them off that high perch?
I mean, obviously, I think Abrazier probably the favourites coming into this. The Slackers did have a slightly harder time getting to the finals day. They had two matches against the Doomsday duo,
Yep.
obviously taking four of those. So yeah, they had a bit of a harder time getting here, but I think I like the Slackers. I think they've got a bit more of a variance in play and play styles. They like a bit more of the chaos, a bit more of the Fiesta sort of gameplay, which is
Yeah.
obviously more fun to watch. So yeah, I'm rooting for the Slackers.
And we saw both of those come out from the Slackers yesterday, right? We saw Adams with his trademark Chaos Mastermind, and we saw Chuvis play Fiesta at least once or twice as well. So, yeah, exactly, like you say, those players, they're a lot of fun to watch. They do go for the high variant strategies, and it'll be interesting to see if they can mix things up a little bit and put Abrasiat out of their comfort zone today.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think Dan's does play a little bit of Fiesta himself, right? So we may still see some of that coming out from the Abrazier squad. But yeah, we may quite. I expect Cartel to be pulled out by one of those two in game
Yeah.
one, but it's anyone's guess what the other guys playing. Could see something cheeky like a Fiesta gameplay pulled out for an easy dub in game one, but we'll see.
And that's the great thing about Conquest, right? Because it forces players to mix up their playstyles a little bit. Yeah, obviously, once you've won a game with one of the masterminds, you can't pick it again for the rest of the series, and it just makes it so that the players have to switch things up a little bit. They can't just play, boring greed every single match. They have to change it up a bit, and that's really good. And that might favour, the kind of high variance players like Adamus, like Chuvis. We'll have to see. And it looks like we should have a lobby open. Let me just check. There is a lobby open, but not for the one that we are looking for, so we're going to have to pad for a little bit longer, I'm afraid. So Adamus, we've spoken quite a lot about Kingdans and Widdowson. Adamus and Chuvis, I mean, Adams in particular, he is equally decorated to Widdowson for sure. He was the better of the Banana Boys back in the day. He kind of took little Widdowson under his wing, taught him everything he knows, much like myself and yourself. And he's known as a very level-headed player, very strategic, makes extremely good calls, like particularly when the game goes into the mid and late game stages. Adams is just always there with his game plan, like making sure the game proceeds according to what he wants to do. He doesn't let the enemy players steer him, rather he tries to do the other way around to make the game follow his sending pattern, so that the enemy are forced to send on a wave where he is strong and he can send on a wave where they are weak. That's the kind of pull and push that you really want to achieve with Legion, and Adams is just so great at that. So, I think Abrasiat clearly favoured in terms of how well they've been playing lately. But if there's a team to knock them off their perch in a semi-final, I think Chuvis and Adams might just be the ones to do it.
Well, we'll certainly find out. I think, yeah, it's interesting. You highlight Adams' playstyle as being so sort of regimented and thought out, because that completely goes counter to what I expect from a Chaos player. And he does have more Chaos games than anything else, at least in this season. So,
I mean, that is true.
He's still the way he plays. Then, interesting to see if the roles favour that or not.
He is a filthy Chaos abuser indeed, but you have to understand that ladder play and tournament play are two different things. And when you get Chuvis and Adams, both for fun players on the ladder, right? But you get these guys into the tournament, they put their serious hats on, it's game time, and they just play to the 100% of their ability, and that's what I love to see.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we have a lobby open, so hopefully players can start filtering in here. Hopefully the caster can start filtering in here as well. Hint, hint. Here he is.
Let's go.
Excellent. Oh, okay, I'm seeing in chat they want me to make you a bit louder so I can play with your volume. Good that happened before the game.
Well, I can sit here saying testing 1 2 3. I don't think we're going to find out for another 15 minutes delay. I don't know how long the delay is here. So it might be a while till we know if people can hear me or not.
All right. Okay, so casters are ready. I have changed your volume. Hopefully in 5 minutes time, Twitch chat can let me know whether that gets any better for them. I can see your levels bouncing up and down on my other screen, so it definitely looks louder, if nothing else.
Good, good. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay, I've also spent the last 2 hours playing with my microphone settings, so hopefully there's some improvement there for you guys at home. Right, we're still just waiting for the players to get into the lobby. Now, this is the semi-final stage, so there is no second chances here like we had in the group stages. A loss here does end your tournament route. But here we go. Okay, enough padding, finally. Phew. We have game number 1 of the March Nova Cup semi-finals about to begin. It is Kingdans and Widdowson playing for Abrasiert on the left, and they are up against Tuvis and Adams playing for the almighty Slackers on the right. The game is on.
Some quality taglines coming in here on the loading screen. You can see Widdowson with the 5 question mark. Will he put into practice today what he's learned from laddering with Raccoon?
I mean, Raccoon22 is just a savant on the ladder, and 5 is a fantastic wave to send. So that advice surely going to be followed here today.
Some instant lock-ins from Widder and King. They know exactly what they want to be doing. We've got Widder with the YOLO, Kingdans with the Cartel.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Great to see Widdowson just going big ball YOLO round 1, by the way. And Tuvis with the Fiesta! Let's go!
Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. I think if anyone was going to pull out a Fiesta here, it was going to be Tuvis. Hopefully it doesn't tilt Adams too much. I think very recently he's made public his feelings on Fiesta teammates, but
Yes.
Hopefully Tuvis is the exception to that.
That's quite some delicious irony in that Adams was literally venting about Fiesta teammates already today, and now we see game 1 of the semi-finals, Tuvis picking up the Fiesta straight off the bat. Now, Kingdans has a pretty decent role there with the Windhawk Serpent, very solid for the first few waves. Tuvis, I mean, he's got a good role, but it's not really a Fiesta role. He doesn't have an obvious opener to play with that Fiesta. And Adams, he also has quite a nice role. He did lock in. I didn't see which unit he locked in. Did you see that one?
I did not. No, I wasn't expecting a lock-in. To be fair, that's a bit of a surprising pick for me. He's obviously got some strat he's perfecting here.
I would imagine it's something to do with the Titan. Maybe Titan Phoenix is what he locked in. I really can't tell.
Yeah, the Fiesta Berserker is a very interesting choice.
Yeah, on
to
Tuvis.
see what he knows here. he probably knows some next level strat on how to leak very small on 3. We'll see.
I think what he probably does is pushes to 6 workers during wave 2 and just knows that he's leaking wave 1. Now, Kingdans, he does leak here to no send, of course, with that Windhawk opener. He's not playing Fiesta, though. Interesting now, the mind game, whether or not Adams tries him with a snail here on wave 2.
Yeah, I think the mind games here are definitely they're definitely something to watch out for. You can't really know exactly what they're trying to play on for here. I mean, you could say that Tuvis is mind gaming with the Zerker Fiesta as well, but I don't know to whose favour that goes.
All right, there is a 40 send here against Tuvis. There is that lizard, but guess what? His Fiesta. He loves to see this lizard. It was absolute 5-head play all along from Tuvis.
Never doubted. Never doubted.
Absolutely incredible. So this is really like the mind game starting early on already. Kingdans, he did skip wave 1, but with that very long wave with his Windhawk, he was able to get the lizard out, thinking that damages Tuvis, but actually leaking a single lizard is really good for the Fiesta Berserker opener.
Absolutely, you love to see it.
He's getting another lizard out here as well. Presumably Tuvis will leak fairly small again. What does he add? He adds a Fire Archer in the split. Okay, that might even be a full hold, actually, because Fire Archer is so strong on early game waves.
The no send, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Oh. We are seeing full send from Widder.
And a full send from Kingdans as well. Kingdans also receiving a full send, but he does have a Devilfish and 2 Gargoyles. He should do pretty fine there, and even if he leaks, Widdowson's definitely covering. So let's hop over to look at Tuvis and Adams. How are they doing against their sends? The Berserker goes down under the relentless pressure from the Lizard, and it looks like the Fire Archer will die as well. So this will be a leak from Tuvis, but again, pretty clean for his Fiesta. Adams does hold against his full send. Very, very skilled there with the Oathbreaker Nightmare. full hold. Only the best players are able to fully hold that send with that build.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, 3% king damage for a nice long wave when both of you are 7 workers. I think Chuvas and Adams are happy with that.
Yeah, 7 workers what? I think you mean 8. If you take another quick look at Chuvas. Yeah, very aggressive, very nice. And here's the big boy send coming out against Widdowson, who is looking decently undervalued. The Cannoneer Snail, he won't get a second Snail, so it's just the Cannoneer Snail coming out. When that Cannoneer gets on top of the Priestess, it is absolutely deadly.
Absolutely.
Having said that, though, the Wargs are the perfect tanks, both for the Wave Creeps and the Cannoneer. The first one goes down, the second one is now being targeted. I think this is going to be a leak, but not a terrible one. He was able to kill most of the chickens before the wave went onto the Priestess, and now she's starting to take the damage. She can't outheal the Cannoneer. There's a 40% leak, but I think, again, Widdowson's pretty fine with that.
Pretty fine with that, but again, it's another longer wave with a worker deficit. So I think both teams are probably fairly happy with how the game's going so far.
Yeah, and speaking of worker deficit, Widdowson does now close the gap. He pushes up to 8, but the real damage has already been done. Chuvas was able to keep Widdowson on really low workers for the first 4 waves of the game. He was lower workers than everybody else. He's just now catching up. But his income's lower than everybody else's. His Mythium generated is lower than everybody else's. And that has given Adams a little bit of breathing room.
Absolutely. We are here on the dangerous Wave 5, but with very little in terms of sends.
There is a Dino coming out against Chuvas. Widdowson actually ignoring his own tagline, didn't send anything on Wave 5. I think this is the point where Kingdance just turns on auto-send and just says 5 every time Widdowson tries to make a plan.
I mean, that's the only responsible play, really. It would be respectable. I think we've got probably quite a nice, tasty Fiesta incoming.
Is he going to kill the Dino? Here? If he kills the Dino, this is super clutch. And he does! Amazing! He does. Is he going to leak 2 creeps? Wow, this is a very, very clean Fiesta here for Chuvas. 17% against the Dino send, with 8 workers, nice long waves. Fiesta gold achieved, everything going his way so far.
Beautiful play there. Beautiful play. He doesn't push any more workers. Instead, opting for a Slime Siren to keep him a bit more solid for the next couple of waves.
Well, this is the thing, right? This is where the good Fiesta players are separated from the bad Fiesta players. Because, sure, he can just try and be super low value and hope to leak the wave, or not care if he leaks the wave. But here, Adams is receiving a massive, massive send from Widdowson. 2 brutes, 2 snails, and Chuvas knows he needs to hold and cover his teammates' leak. Alright, so I think Adams is going to be in a spot of bother here against the 160 Mythium send. He has a lot of Chain Fists on the board. Not the best units on Wave 6, of course. Although this Oathbreaker really is getting its money's worth. It does go down, and the Nightmare just barely kills the Brute there at the end. That's very clean. Chuvas holding.
Not bad at all.
And with this Slime Siren, he might even just be able to full cover as well.
I think this is an easy full cover, yeah.
Wow, very nice play there from Chuvas, and now we see him pressing the worker button. He's on 11, he might continue pushing after the wave. We have Mimic Brute from Adams, we have Triple Brute come out from Chuvas, and now Kingdance and Widdowson, they really are looking in danger here on Wave 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Mimic is going to go to town on all of this Swift and Arcane armor. I guess it's just going to be a case of how much of the wave that Deep Coiler really can get to work on before the Mimic does its job.
This is really clutch here. So Kingdance reading the Mimic send from Adams. He builds Wanderers, normally bad units on Wave 7, but pretty good against Mimics.
And he's dragging it over there perfectly. That's going to waste a lot of the Mimic's time. That's great play. We're going to see the Deep Coiler really get to do a lot of damage here first. And also, that Mimic has been targeted. It is losing health, so the Deep Coiler may, in fact, kill it off when it comes over back into the left side of the lane.
I think it will target it now. Widdowson leaking 89% against the Triple Brute Lizard. That's a massive send. And Kingdance, he doesn't quite kill the Mimic, leaking it there on 370 HP. Oh no! These guys are in for some king damage here on Wave 7. First blood going to the side of Chuvas and Adams.
Cuvis up to 14 workers now. He's playing this Fiesta great.
Yeah.
Any Berserker Fiesta doubters in the chat? I was never one.
No, believe. I mean, if there's one thing you've got to say about Juvis, he's always been an innovator. He comes up with wacky builds, he makes them work, and then they're copied on the ladder for generations to come.
Yeah, I mean, if I find people in my pub games doing copying this build, I'm not sure it's going to have the same effect.
You'll be straight into the
we'll
venting
see.
channel, right?
I don't go in the venting channel. I'll silently mold.
All right, Kingdans and Widdowson now at least starting to catch up a little bit in workers, but the Mythium, even after the full send on the previous wave, the Mythium is already back in favour of Chuvis, and Adams, those 14 workers just going to town for Chuvis.
Absolutely, yeah, and value's not looking bad at all.
No, I mean this
Obviously,
is the
Adams
thing.
with a little bit of overbuilding.
Like, he didn't go full suicide with his Fiesta, right? He did something like he added something to kill the Scorpion on 5, and he's just hoping to fix his value by, say, wave 13 through income alone.
Not just the Scorpion, but the Dino too. Oh, beautiful. And
That was a juicer.
We've got a full army of Chain Fists and Oathbreakers on Adam's board right now.
Oh, lordy. Oh, that's a lot of tier 1s.
Very efficient gold for HP on those units, but we'll see how he gears. Oh, he's added the Lioness, good tank for the next few waves.
Pretty juicy. And there is full income send here from Kingdans and Widdowson with the King upgrades as well. So Chuvis and Adams know that their opponents have 0 Mythium to play with. And I wonder if they just go for a wave 10 send. Widdowson does have this Daphne and Alpha Male, so he's not terrible there, even with the Azeria. Kingdans, I mean, he has potential for Doppel as well, and the Deep Coiler, but his tanks are kind of lacking on 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There is only defensive spells in this game right now with the Battle Scars, Titan, and Magician. So nothing offensive to gear up a really big 11 send. But you never know. We'll see what they choose to do here.
Yeah, I kind of expect a 10 send just because it's
There's
only...
the ram.
Yeah, and here it comes. There's a Siege Ram from Chuvis and a Ghost Knight from Adams, who didn't quite have the same level of workers, but still a massive, massive send. And this Siege Ram, we said that Widdowson has those ranges. Presumably he built another 1 or 2 of those now. The Siege Ram's just going to absolutely destroy those Daphnes.
We do have a low split here, so I expect Widow to fix that in some way. Yeah, he's just playing with us.
Widdowson? Split fixing? He's not split fixing. That Azeria is dead.
Yeah, surely. I'm not sure about that one.
That's a dead Azeria. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a leak in Widdowson's lane. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, is that the plumber? I've got a bit of a leak. It's 149% on 10 from Widdowson. Kingdans, though, against the Ghost Knight Lizard, it's a full hold.
He has the damage.
He has got the damage, surely. He's even able to clear up half of that boss's HP in the mid. Really carrying his teammate here in game number 1 is Kingdans.
Honestly, that could have gotten a lot worse. It could have gotten a lot more out of hand. But, I mean, look at the worker situation. It's still... And the King HP situation is still solidly in the corner of Chuvis and Adams.
Yeah, I mean, this game so far really has just been the Chuvis show. He had some very, very clean Fiestas early on with his Berserker Fiesta opener, and just the insane amount of pressure he was able to pile onto Widdowson. Like, just look at this power score over here. Widdowson right down at the bottom, with Chuvis on fire at the top. It really tells the story of the game so far.
It absolutely does. We have Battle Scars picked for 3 players. Only Adam's going with the Titan.
Is he going to show it? I mean, presumably he locked in because of Titan being available. So does he want it on a Phoenix, or is he going to place it on a Doppelganger?
I would expect to see this on the Phoenix. I think you've got more value in... you've got more tank value out of a Phoenix than you ever do with your Doppels, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, without lifesteal, yes. Maybe with lifesteal it's a different story, but he didn't roll the Butcher. He wasn't skilled enough. He needs to play Chaos. That's where his skill really lies. Oh, Widdowson leaking Nose End here. He's really starting to suffer. Just the incredible amount of pressure that Chuvis applied throughout the early game is starting to show. Widdowson is sweating here in game number 1.
There is all 4 players holding onto their Mythium still. I mean, when are you expecting the Sen to come out here on 13?
Well, Chuvis is expecting here. He's hardening. But he's actually kind of looking a little bit weaker on 13, even with the Fatalizer potential, I think. But Adams, I mean, he should be pretty solid on 13 and 14. Well, actually, Adams is not fantastic on 14. He has got Doppelganger with Titan, and that's where he places his Titan, by the way. So that answers that question. He has got Sand Badger in his role as well, so not terrible there. But of course, Kingdans and Widdowson don't know about that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try 14, just looking at what Adams currently has on the board.
Yeah, certainly. I'm interested to see the Titan on the Doppler.
Oh, but no, it's a 13 send, at least from Kingdans and Widdowson. Chuvis and Adams. Oh, they send as well. There's a Kraken coming out from Chuvis. Pre-income Kraken. Wow. And Imps.
Big sends. Yeah, there's Imps. There's Imps from all 4 players. There's a lot of imp action going on right here, right now.
Destruction! Say the Imps. Oh, nailed it! Alright. Now, Kingdans is going for a full boost on his Orchids. Very, very solid. Adams is going to send as many Dragon Turtles as his workers can afford. The big boy send here for Widdowson. He does have a Chieftain buffing his Azeria. Pretty solid. Let's see if it's able to survive the initial onslaught or not. That's really important here. It looks like yes. The Azeria will survive against the left side, meaning that 3 creeps effectively deal 0 damage. If we have a quick look over here, Chuvis, it looks like, is leaking quite badly. So we'll call it a fiesta, but maybe it's a bit worse than that, to be sure. Adams, as expected, is holding here with his Doppelganger Titan, and Phoenix just really putting in the work. Meanwhile, 71% Widdowson, 63% Kingdans. Sure, Chuvis leaks, but I think the game just ends here.
Yeah, that was a fantastic hold by Adams. Obviously set up for success with his build there, but... Is it over? Is it over?
Do they ever survive? Tenacity OP confirmed? They survive! 3% HP on the King, but this is still a very long road for Kingdans and Widdowson to come back into this game. Chuvis and Adams clearly in the lead. Although Chuvis hasn't pushed a single worker yet, this says to me that they're going for a long save. Meanwhile, Kingdans and Widdowson, they're both doing the opposite. They're both full pushing. I guess they want to try and end the game on 15, but Chuvis and Adams, neither player pushed a single worker, both full shifting their gold. They're trying to bait the 15 send and then go a bit longer. I mean, the bait is going to pay off because Kingdans and Widdowson, with this full push, they definitely send 15. The question is, Chuvis and Adams, with this 500 gold shift, is it enough to hold?
I guess we'll find out. I think it's the game's ending next wave, one way or another. If this play doesn't work, obviously, I mean the guys know this. They know if this play doesn't work, that they're as good as done. It's a bit of a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Both players still holding despite having very, very low values, and as expected, here comes that wave 15 send. We have Shaman coming out from King, Needler from Widdowson. And the sends are going to be pretty big. They both pushed up to 34 and 35 workers. There's a double Phoenix now for Adams, both with an NPS aura as well. Those things, if they survive, are going to put out insane amounts of damage against the natural creeps of Wave 15.
They absolutely are. I wouldn't be surprised to see Adams full holding this.
And Chuvis, I mean, he's basically on value, 3.7k value. He has a hardened golem. He's got 2 life binders to keep his units alive. The one thing I'll say is that healing is kind of weak when it gets overwhelmed, and the send coming out from Dans is huge.
They're both huge. We've got 680 and 640.
Yeah, let's see how these players can cope with these massive Wave 15 sends now. The Needler doing work over here. One of Adams' Phoenixes already down. Important to note they don't have any King attack upgrades, really. And the boss is leaking pretty healthily for Adams and a full HP Needler. Widdowson leaking no send meanwhile. But Chuvis, this really is the Chuvis show. He's fully holding, and the forfeit comes out.
There's the FF. Yeah, they know that play's not taking them anywhere good if they don't win there and then. So expected to see. I've got to say that was expertly played by Chuvis and Adams. That was some beautiful play. Like you say, Chuvis with he put on an amazing show here. The aesthetics of the builds on that team were hideous. Made me feel nauseous looking at it, but it works. So
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
that's it.
I mean, yeah, that was just extremely impressive. This game, we've got to call it the Chuvis show. If we scroll back through a few of those waves on the build order, we see the perfect lizard-only leak on 2 for his Fiesta. Pretty similar tiny leak on 3, while Adam's skillfully holding the lizard snail with his Nightmare Oathbringer. And then we get, okay, sure, so he kept Widdowson on 5 workers up until wave 4, which is giving Adams a lot of breathing room. A perfect 17% leak on 5 for his Fiesta, covering on 6 where he needs to cover. Just everything was played perfectly by Chuvis in this early game, it seems. Big leaks on 7, and then they're just already comfortably ahead. This massive send on 10, Widdowson leaks the whole wave, and then they just go straight for 13. Barely surviving on King Dans and Widdowson. But they're all in wave 15 play to try and come back. It didn't pay off. We saw the forfeit come out. And yeah, that's game 1 going to the side of Chuvis and Adams. Well played, guys.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I think wave 10 did some pretty serious damage with the lack of a split there for Witter as well. Probably already realizing his mistake, probably kicking himself for that. But I mean, he's never full holding that, I imagine. But having your Aziria and your Daphne die instantly, leaving you with a DPS alpha. Yeah, not the best situation, but obviously King did cover a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he had no gold, but maybe if he sells this Chain Fist here and just places it a bit further up, maybe things go a bit differently. I don't know. It's hard to say. The send was enormous, and he wasn't great. The send was also perfect against his board, right? Like that Siege Ram just absolutely deletes the Daphne's damage output.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, you're never holding that 387 there. That was just absolutely humongous by Chuvis.
Yeah, that's what she said. And anyway, now we have game number 2 to look forward to. The Abracea, possibly the favourites going into this, they're down 1 game already in the best of 3. So now they're playing for match point. They need to win this one to keep their tournament dreams alive.
Absolutely. Well, I said I was rooting for the Slackers. It makes me happy to see. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get a repeat now of Chuvis's Fiesta. So we'll see. I think his most played, obviously, again, just in pubs, playstyle is cash out. So we may just see that. But yeah.
Oh, I've heard from the players that Adams is having some PC issues and needs to restart his PC. So it looks like you're stuck with the casters talking rubbish for a little while longer.
So far, the race to the best banana boy is going over to Adams.
Yeah, he's really showing his old teammate a thing or two, right? Widdowson, I mean, to be fair, Widdowson had a really hard game with the amount of pressure that Chuvis was putting on top of him, but he was just on the struggle bus from start to finish in that game number 1. Like Chuvis just never took his foot off his throat, and Widdowson was just gasping for air the whole time, hoping for some glimmer of life, which never came.
Yeah, it does just go to show, the performances these guys can pull out. Like you say, you've got your accolades, you've got your data from pubs. Chuvis being of the 4 players in this lobby, the lowest ranked, the lowest peak ranked. But it really felt like he controlled that game, start to finish.
Oh, so, he absolutely did.
To him.
He absolutely.
And I'm not just saying that because he's a Yonka Mionka guildmate. Obviously the best guild, but this is an impartial cast.
Yeah. He's a for fun player on the ladder and for realsies player in the tournaments. And he's really showing us that here today. Really good stuff there, Chuvis. Really, really good stuff. But yeah, you're right. So we did get that exciting Fiesta game in number 1. Conquest format means he can't play Fiesta again in game number 2 or 3 if we go to a 3rd match. And Adams, I mean, he can't play lock-in. I'm sure he doesn't really mind not being able to play lock-in. But those two options are no longer available for those players. So I wonder if we see Adams maybe go back to his trademark Chaos, and then Chuvis go for something quite high tempo again, maybe Cartel, maybe YOLO, something like that. Or maybe they just go, vanilla, double greed. Who knows?
Yeah, I would expect to see Cash Out or Cartel, most likely, from Chuvis here. That's my prediction. Cartel, obviously, a tournament favourite, even for the players who don't play it a lot on ladder. It's just a very, very strong mastermind.
Yeah. I think the early game in Legion TD is always so important. So those masterminds which give you a bit of extra oomph for the first few waves, Cash Out clearly is the strongest for the first 3 or 4 waves, just bar none. Cartel is obviously very strong for the first 10 and then falls off after. But the whole point being that if you give yourself a good early game and at the same time try and damage your opponent's early game, you're going to set yourself up for success. And we saw Chuvis do that masterfully in game number 1. So I expect him to go with another high-tempo, early game pressure mastermind in game number 2. Like you say, Cash Out, excellent choice. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cartel either.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have all the players in the lobby.
Excellent. Let me say that the casters are ready. And yeah, I think we padded quite well there, Nictia. Can you confirm, by the way, whether I'm pronouncing that correctly or not?
I couldn't care less how anyone pronounces it. It is supposed to be Nictia.
Nictia, okay.
Nictia, yeah.
Nictia, bit of an emphasis on the E there. Nictia, okay.
Yeah.
Nictia.
So, any little language lesson for the chat.
Yeah, the non-native speakers in chat. But
yeah,
enough. I say enough. Game number 2. The March semi-finals is here. Abrasier fighting for their tournament lives, remember. If they lose one more game, they are out. They are done. The Chuvis and the Adams are going to be the ones to do it or not. Let's find out. Game number 2. Here we go.
And we have another instant Cartel for Dans and Cash Out this time for Widow.
Yeah.
Again, Chuvis and Adams taking their time a little bit more.
Chaos for Adams. And Cash Out for Chuvis. You were right. What a prediction!
There we go. And you look to see a little bit of Chaos from Adams. Obviously very, very comfortable with that playstyle. So we shall see. And as far as the first role he's got here, the openers, he's got a couple of options.
King Dans with the Priestess. He doesn't have the mask, so he's not that skilled, but he does have the Ranger, which is a very, very good alternative to the mask, and the Steed as well, pumping that Azeria full of mana, keeping her alive. Pretty solid role there for King Dans. And Chuvis with his Cash Out, what does he play? I don't see anything obviously great in Chuvis's role. It's not terrible, but he doesn't have any of those big baller synergies,
I mean, he has Flying Hades. He has Super Hades. What more could you possibly ask for?
Oh, that's true. He does have the Flying Hades. He does go with that, but he's kind of lacking melee units. He only has Peewee and Antler.
That is true, and he's opening with a Zeus.
Okay. I mean, he doesn't really have other options in this role. This is not a perfect role for Chuvis by any means.
Adams... This is a very interesting open by Adams. I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Maybe he's trying to fake Fiesta?
I think if you were faking Fiesta, you would make a Pixie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I mean, the fake Fiesta is more convincing when you leak, which he does. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on in his head. I mean, I assume that Adams is just planning to give the viewers a show, He wants it to go to game number 3. I can't see any other reason.
Well, he's doing that. This is a sight to behold.
I can't see another reason for this build. Pennywise is unsure. Jeez. Okay.
So, we have some deviants in builds from Witter and Chuvis. Whether they're opting for a Peewee. Chuvis does have a Peewee.
So I've heard, yeah.
Will it be as big as Witterson's?
And Widdowson does hold against the snail send, of course. He would have done without adding the Pee-wee, but his ball's much smaller than Tuvis's, apparently. Feeling scared, perhaps after that performance in Game 1, he does play safe and add the Tier 1.
That's right. Bigger Pee-wee, smaller balls, but that's the last I'll say on that. I want to obviously make this a PG stream.
Okay, we have income coming out from all the players. King Dan's leading the pack with 6 workers, everybody else only on 5. Adams, he would get to a lizard post-income if he wants to, and that actually would leak King Dan's pretty badly if he doesn't add anything apart from this one Bone Warrior. Let's see if Adams goes for the send or not. It looks like no, so King Dan's getting away with murder here on wave 3. This is actually quite a bad leak if the lizard comes out as well. I think it's around 50%.
Yeah, he's definitely called the expected no send, or well, very small send.
Yep.
Very
And
well.
now he goes to 7 workers off the snail send. So King Dan's playing very aggressively. And I love to see this, right? Because you've got to expect for King Dan's and Widdowson, you've lost game number 1. You know, this game, it's all to play for. So maybe you fall into the trap of being a bit scared, playing overly cautious. And we did see, you know, Widdowson with the Pee-wee on 2. But King Dan's is just the polar opposite. He knows that in order to win, you have to take those risks. You have to play aggressive. And he really is doing that here.
He really is, yeah. Adam's still LARPing as Fiesta very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, his build, Pennywise is unsure.
I mean, I said last game that the builds, the aesthetics, they were something to behold. They're doing the same again here, but you know they know what they're doing. I'm sure this is going to turn out great.
Yeah, I'm sure. King Dan's with the 80 send here. He did drop a steed and a ranger. Is it enough to hold? It looks like the answer is yes. Oh, wait! The steed goes down. The priestess now tanking. Does she get a heal? She does!
Let's get one.
I think it's going to be a leak, but only a very, very small one indeed. It's 3 creeps there.
Creeps? Yeah.
Oh, but Widdowson! Waldo here in lane 2 leaking as well to the lizard. So instead of fully covering, they're going to take a little bit of king damage here. Not too much, of course.
Huge leaks, huge leaks. Look at that. King's getting tickled down to 97%.
Oh, lordy. Pee-wees and tickling. Oh, my. Widdowson going with the Brute's End here on wave 5 into Adams, but Adams, now his build is starting to resemble something approaching a proper build for a tournament. He gets the Harbinger out. He will, of course, easily hold this 100 send from Widdowson, and then he'll be able to push that worker button because currently he is lagging behind the pack.
He is. He's set up well for the next few waves. Obviously, he's going to be able to get to push here. Fairly free hold on 6 and 7. And he's got options with the cat and the coiler for 8. So he's looking good. He's looking good here as long as that brute goes down before everything else. Which it won't.
Ooh,
so
the
his
Harbinger
Harp is
not
getting
defending
snacked on.
itself. Is he going to leak wave 5 with 520 value and a Harbinger? I think he is.
Really just a brute?
That's actually borderline impressive.
Well, we get to see some 1v1 action right here with a Serpent versus a Brute, and it looks like the
Oh,
Serpent's
the
got
Serpent
best of it,
wins!
actually.
Okay, Adams does
What a
hold. He does hold. And now he's catching up on the workers. He goes to 9 post-income, maybe even 10. No, not 10. Okay, he stays on 9. So now he's ahead of everybody else, but only just. But meanwhile, King Dan's and Tuvis both have respectable amounts of Mythium banked. 160 approaching King Dan's and 130 on Tuvis. So Widdowson and Tuvis both feeling a bit of pressure here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going for a cheeky king up there.
Alright, 60 send into Adams. He's just going to feed him even further. Let's see him go to 10, even 11 workers now.
Well, I mean, judging from last game, you know, this is Adam's time now to maybe not push that button too many times and hold for the send that Tuvis is going to be taking soon.
There's the Mimic from Tuvis, King Dan's. Okay, he goes for the Mole and the Brute against Tuvis. I got to think it would have been an Ogre, but he was just 5 Mythium away from getting that out pre-income. I mean, the ogre, the mole, and the brute are still looking pretty damn dangerous against Juvis's board. The Tempests, the Aquas, the Zeus all get shot down really hard by the mole. And Adams was even able to put together a double brute of his own. So 160 for King Dans, 180 for Widdowson, 220 though for Juvis. Let's see, does the Priestess go down? It does! She doesn't get the heal off. This should be a pretty bad leak for King Dans. Widdowson, how's he faring against the Mimic? He is now focusing it. Juvis leaks 93%, but Adams, that's a full hold easily. The Mimic does go down for Widdowson. Okay, that's saving him from disaster. That could have been bad. In fact, he's just going to full hold.
Yeah, that's very nice for him. Perfect focus, going very well. I think Dan's took just a tiny little bit too much. That brute was just a bit too much for the poster to handle. Managed to split it very well, but what could you do? Big send.
And even more chip damage. Now, none of these leaks have resulted in serious damage like we saw in Game 1, but they're just chipping away at the king. And remember, with Tenacity in the game, every little bit of HP is important, because you can quite often end up with Tenacity stacking and stacking and stacking, and like we saw on Wave 13 in the previous game, they survived on what, like 2-3% HP? Whereas if you get that chip damage in early, then all of a sudden Tenacity doesn't get a chance to stack, and they're much more susceptible to being one-shot.
Absolutely. Interestingly, Juvis and Adams still with not really any tanks on their board.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of said it early on, Juvis only has Antler, really. He did re-roll, and now he has the Banana Bunk at least, so he has got some tanks available. He just doesn't have them on his board yet. And Adams, I mean, he's playing Chaos, right? So he's kind of at the mercy of the Chaos gods.
Yeah, Juvis did shift. Cheeky little bit of gold last wave to get the bunk out here, which he is now placing.
And we see all the players chilling with their Mythium for now. Adams has the most with his worker lead there, 13. Clearly ahead of everybody else on the field. King Dan's struggling. He's on 10 workers. He does have the highest income, but remember, he's playing Cartel.
Yeah, is the lead he's got in income there going to be enough post-10?
Let's see what happens. All of the players presenting a very real threat now with the amount of Mythium stored. Let's see when they decide to pull the trigger. Will it be a Wave 10 send like we saw last game? Or does anybody want to play for an aggressive Wave 11-12 with Overwork in the field?
Well, we're seeing sends from Juvis Adams at least.
Okay, looks like all the players will send here. We've got Mimic and Spam from Widdowson. We've got Pack Leader and Spam from King Dans. The Ogre from Juvis and Imps from Adams. Okay, actually I can see the Imps. He does have 2 Alpha Males already.
Yeah, I suppose he's just trying to get through that tank line. Dans does have 2 Daphnes on his board now, so he's not looking too terrible here.
And this is very interesting. Look, this Bone Warrior in the split here. King Dan's clearly learning from Widdowson's mistake in game number 1. Doesn't want his Priestess or his Daphnes to die immediately on the wave.
It's a very high level strat.
Okay, so massive sends for all 4 players. We've got 300 for Dans, 260 for Widders, 220 and 260 on the other side as well. Let's see who comes off better from this big play on Wave 10. Oh.
Well, the Imps did get to chew through those Alpha lanes there.
Yeah, they also tanked the Daphne shots quite well. Adams and Juvis both leaking decently there, 67% and 50%. Widdowson leaking very small, 29, and King Dan's leaking 31. Okay, so this trade clearly then going in favour of Team Abraceat. They're going to get a lot of king damage done here.
Certainly are.
It's
looking fairly even now.
It is looking pretty even, yeah, for sure. They've now caught up in workers. Adams, who has been ahead for the last few waves, is now just on par with everybody else. The one thing I'll say is that King Dans has just been hit with that big cartel income penalty, so he's now way behind all of the other players in terms of income.
Yeah, you'd really love to be ahead in workers and at least poised to catch up at this point, but obviously very even. All 4 players here on 15 workers. Very, very interesting to see. Just that
Yeah, I think
consistent number across the board.
that's the cool thing about Legion at this like very top level. The players are just so well matched that everything almost always comes down to like knife edge decision making. Like one send on the wrong wave, one wrong call will just decide the game. And for now, these two teams look perfectly matched. Alright, we have Titan picked up by both Kingdans and Widdowson. Azeria, of course, is one of the best units in the game for the Titan buff. And Chuvas and Adams both taking the hero. Adams skillfully rolling both Nightmare and Butcher here on wave 12. Let's see if he decides to place them down, or if he thinks it's just a bit too late to go for those units.
Well, the Butcher for sure. We do see Chuvas actually placing his hero buff now.
Yeah, and
on the Levi.
He's also shifting 300 gold, so I have to assume he's going for a full Hades on wave 13. The thing is, when you have Leviathans like this, like, Kingdans and Widdowson know that he's playing either Phoenix or Hades. There's just no other reason that he would have the Leviathans in this shape with that aura, so they know to expect something like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just skip 13 in favour of wave 14.
They may well, yeah.
Let's see if Chuvas and Adams pull the trigger or not. It looks like all the players keeping their cool. They must be feeling under pressure, but nobody buckling yet. Everybody saving their Mythium, and this game really is too close to call.
Some big balls all around. Nerves of steel for all these guys here. Chuvas, obviously, like you say, sold a little bit of trash there to make way for the Hades, so he does have that. Not as terrible as you might think, often on 14, but obviously not the best unit.
It can tank quite a lot of damage on 14 as well, remember, it is Arcane. Of course it does reduced damage, but the hero Leviathan buff makes up for that, somewhat at least. Now, if we look at the power score, Kingdans' Cartel debuff really is starting to show now. And here come the wave 14 sends from everybody. This is going to be... I think the game probably just ends here. I really don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, certainly sitting on that reduced income for 3 waves is a little bit painful.
Kingdans is just so far undervalued. But then, to be fair, so are Chuvas and Adams.
Yeah, Dan's with his big Pota, the Titan Pota with 3 full Pegasi behind it. I mean, that's tank value for days. That's a hell of a lot of effective HP.
It really is, yeah. It's going to be so clutch to see how quickly this Azeria can die, because if that thing stays alive, even though he's so far undervalued, he might just end up almost certainly not holding, but doing way better than he should. So let's see if she can survive the initial onslaught or not. The Needler ignores her. I think she is going to survive, but maybe she's not tanking enough. And now the Needler is just absolutely chewing through those Pegasus. This is going to be a pretty big leak for Dans. Meanwhile, Widdowson, he's doing very well. Chuvas, he is going for a big leak, doesn't get the Dragon off. 118% there for him. Adams, it looks like doing a little bit better, but it's not... Oh, Kingdans and Widdowson, they both leak first. Adams, he did stall long enough, it looks like. This is... I think they're just going to win the race. 15 creeps on the left, including a full HP Needler.
Yeah, that Needler can really go to town.
And Abra see it! They're out! The almighty Slackers have knocked out the tournament favourites in the semi-finals. That's incredible!
Wow, that was a really good showing. Start to finish, Chuvas and Adams putting in some work these 2 games.
I mean, absolute masterclass from these guys. Game number 1 was clearly the Chuvas show, but game number 2, I mean... There just was not a single, like, hair's difference between these 2 teams. It was so even all the way through. And then just this... I don't know. I guess it was the Cartel difference for Kingdans. Like, he couldn't quite keep up. Maybe if he'd had a little bit more value, he'd have been able to hold. Like, Azeria really is one of those feast or famine units where if you have just a little bit more, it can just tank forever. And, like... ignore half of the wave's damage, right? But it didn't happen. He leaked 110%, and Adams was just able to hold long enough to secure the victory for the Almighty Slackers. With a quick 2-0, by the way. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was some beautiful stuff.
Man. Okay, well, I mean, that's the first series ended maybe a bit sooner than any of us expected. I kind of thought that Abrasir would bring that one back at least so we could see a game 3, but it wasn't to be. Now let's see, do we have the second semi-final still ongoing, or has that one concluded already? I see Drakia and Lucy are still on wave 16, so maybe we can hop into that one. Oh, that game's just ended. So let me just check the profile to see the results. Okay, I can confirm that that was a 2-0 victory for the underdogs against No Balls and No Style. So both semi-finals of the Division 1 have ended. We do have our final lineup ready. That is going to be the Almighty Slackers, not Team Abrasiert, and they're going to be playing up against the underdogs. So surely, Drakir and Lucy, this is your month to shine. But having said that, the Slackers, man, if they can play the way they did in this semi-final up against the underdogs, maybe Drakir and Lucy are just doomed to be the bridesmaids forevermore.
Yeah, I mean the underdogs by name only versus well, I would have assumed Slackers as the underdogs for this game we've just watched, and obviously proving us very wrong.
Yeah,
Be interesting to see
clearly
either
did.
way. Both of these teams do can be known for some flashy plays. So I mean we've just seen some from Chuvis here. Some quite high variance on the playstyles of Dratch and Lucy. So yeah, we could expect to see anything in this final.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Right, I think we need to give the players a little bit of a time to breathe in between games. So I'll probably say that we will start the grand finals on the hour, which is just over 10 minutes from now. So Twitch chat, make sure you don't go anywhere because we're going to have a really exciting grand finals coming up very, very soon indeed. Nick Tier, I will go and grab myself some water, rest the old vocal cords for a little while, and I will see you guys back here in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
You there, bud? Yes.
Hello again, Twitch chat. I hope you had fun with those semi-finals, and I hope that you are ready for some excellent play in the grand finals coming right up. And what a match we have, by the way. We've got the almighty Slackers, who we've just seen emerge victorious from a crushing 2-0 defeat against possibly tournament favourites Abraceit. And on the other side of the bracket, we have the underdogs, also coming from their own 2-0 victory against No Styles and No Balls. So the underdogs, Lucy and Drakir, surely this is their month to shine.
It would certainly seem so. I mean, in the group stage, the underdogs taking 2 easy 2-0s, and one of those being against the Slackers themselves.
Yep.
So they've had a pretty clean path through the finals so far, through this tournament this weekend so far. They're looking very, very strong.
Clean is the right word for it, I think. But, and I have to say this, right? The Slackers that we see today are not the same Slackers that we saw playing yesterday. Their level of play today has been absolutely on point. Like, other than whatever the hell Adams was doing in his lane in that second game, let's just ignore that for now and just pretend it never happened. I haven't been able to spot a mistake that these guys have made. Certainly not in the first game where they were absolutely dominating.
I think he's on something. You know, Adams. You know what you say. Whatever the hell was going on in his lane in that game. I mean, he held the longest on the wave that mattered. And having checked what he built in that last round, the wave 14 of that last game, it wasn't even his arcane tanks that he managed to skillfully roll with Chaos. He just put down a Halo and a Harb. He knew. He calculated exactly what he needed. He rolled it with Chaos, and he smashed it out of the park with a very nice stall.
Oh, he knew.
For the victory.
He knew. And we do have a lobby open and waiting just for one more co-caster to join. All right, we have everybody here in the lobby. We should be able to get the first of the grand final games underway very, very shortly. And what a match it's going to be. Almighty Slackers will be playing on the left, and they are up against the underdogs. Okay, reverse that. The underdogs are going to be playing from the left. That's Drakir and FC Lucy. Clap, 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 clap. On the right, we have the almighty Slackers of Tuvis and Adams. Now, we've just seen in the semi-finals how dominating these guys can be when they put their heads to it. Are they going to give Drakir and Lucy a tough run for their money? Or will this be the month for the underdogs? We're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen, because here we go with game number 1 of these March Nova Cup Grand Finals is about to begin. Let's go!
I would at least hope to see this not be the clean victory they've had for their 3 series so far. And I think, yeah, you know, the way Tuvis and Adams playing so far, they've definitely got what it takes to potentially take this finals.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have Drakir and Lucy playing pretty standard masterminds there. Greed for Drakir, Cartel for Lucy, Chubis and Adams. They always take a little bit longer with their choices. Maybe they're having a detailed look at the Legion spells and thinking, okay, well, there's Protector, so maybe I want to lock in Azeria or something like that. Chubis goes with a cash out though, and Adams Chaos. So this is the pairing that we saw them just win game number 2 against Abrasiat with.
Both teams saving their fiestas for later in the series. Yeah, the cash out chaos combo certainly worked for them last game. So see what they pull out here. Dam's straight into slapping down those atoms. He knows where he wants to play.
Drakir, by the way, with the Casket Angler opener. Very nice and aggressive build there. He'll be able to press the worker button a good few times before wave 3 or 4 comes around. Kind of... Actually, I can see it. I think Casket's Seedling is insanely strong, but with that Angler there, he just wants some kind of scaling as well. Like, Casket Seedling, fantastic for the first 5 waves, does fall off a little bit after that.
Yeah, I mean, Angler Casket, Angler Flower, fairly similar in the way that you can just push quite hard and have that Angler scaling.
Yep.
Really nice opens.
Now we see all... well... not all 4, actually, because Chuvas is trying hard straight out of the gate, skipping that wave 1 king up, meaning that Lucy has a little bit more pressure than the other players to deal with. Chuvas might be a little bit disappointed to see that Lucy opened with Nightmare. Definitely not a build that can be punished on wave 2.
Mm-hmm.
He does go straight to 6 workers, though. And he skips. Okay, so Lucy unable to be pressured on 2, rather than just go for that pre-income play with a snail or something, he says, no, I'm going to go 6 workers and play hyper aggressive here. He's going to go for maybe like a dino on 3, but Drakir does read the play.
Sending that snail.
He goes for the snail. Chubis can afford a second Bone Warrior. He doesn't want to place it though. This is going to be a pretty big leak in lane number 3.
Yeah, with even split as well, this is looking a little bit dangerous now.
Yeah, pretty dicey. Adams, of course, is going to be able to fully cover with those atoms. Very good units for covering leaks. But this is going to be a bit of a leak. Does he get one more? He does. Okay, but that's a 75%er there for Chuvas. Maybe the second Bone Warrior could have let him kill another 1 or 2 creeps, but it wouldn't have been a hold. And he has got Dino Mythian. There it is. The Dino pre-income on 3. Lucy has 120 gold. She goes for the Shroom. And the Seedling is actually really clutch here. What the Seedling does on wave 3 is Nightmare has a really annoying threshold on wave 3 where the first 2 attacks leave the units with like 5 HP or something like this. But when you have a Seedling there doing tiny AoE damage against the wave, the Nightmare can now 2-shot the creeps. And this should just be, well... I was going to say easy hold, but the Dino is still very hard for Lucy to fight through.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. Lowering that threshold on the rest of the wave doesn't mean squat. You can't get through the Dino.
But she does kill the Dino.
Now we're seeing it. Yeah, now we're seeing it come into play.
And the Nightmare's just speedrunning the rest of the wave, it seems. That Shroom's still alive, by the way. It was able to tank the Dino and enough hoppers that this is just a full hold for FC Lucy. Clap, 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 clap.
Calculated.
And now 7 workers. Go ahead.
That was a great hold. That was beautiful to see.
It surely was. And we see Adams actually trying a Hermit on 4 into Drakir's Seedling Casket build. I mean, I don't really see a world where this is going to work.
I don't know if he ever would have just held a Dino.
Yeah, I think with the high split it would hold the Dino. But let's see. 100 Mythium Send. Can the Hermit heal outpower the Seedling AoE? In fact, both Seedlings die. But this is the main thing. Can the Hermit out-heal the Casket damage so that it doesn't 2-shot the wave? It looks like yes. Is it going to be enough? It will be a leak. Not a massive one, though. 60% there for Drakir. The Hermit's still doing work. Meanwhile, though, Chuvas, we were looking at the wrong lane. 83% there for Chuvas against the Dino. Wow. Okay, so the income send actually got more work done than the Hermit send.
Yeah, that's not quite the start that Chubis wanted here, I don't think.
No, on the back foot already, it seems. And Jules, reading the game, is giving 60% win chance for the side of Drakir and Lucy, already on wave 5.
Yeah, they've got the underdog buff coming in here.
Surely. Surely this month.
And Dratch already on 8 workers. He's loving life.
8 workers with a bounty hunter build. Yeah, you don't often see angler builds playing this aggressively, but after holding that 100 send, or small leaking that 100 send, he's doing just fine, especially with the amount of damage that he just dealt to Chuvis' lane. Lucy receives a dino of her own here on wave 5, but that shouldn't be presenting too much of a problem for her. Yeah, easy hold there. And I just realised I had my scoreboard reversed, so forgive me guys, I will switch that around wave 6. Professional caster, by the way.
So
Now
we do have a dino coming into Dratch. At present, he has no damage for this wave.
Yeah, he's not looking fantastic this wave. He's got options there with the Groll and the Pilgrim, but it's going to have to be perfectly positioned. He goes for a Growl in the split. Okay, let's see. So the Growl will pull the dino. I am very worried about his complete lack of damage, though.
Yeah, I mean, Growl your only impact, getting stuck on the dino. Not that it's huge DPS anyway. I think we're going to see half the wave go through this angler right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a leak. Does he even kill this one Rocco? He doesn't. That's an 88% leak versus a single Dino Drakir. Oh no!
Yeah, that is painful. I suppose, you know, this was always going to be his weakest wave with this role. Obviously, without being able to get that Berserker on the board. He is very, very safe next. He's pushed one worker so far. Will we see him push again, or will we see him try and hold some gold to get that KP out for 8?
Oh lordy, I've just seen Lucy's Mythium. 240 Mythium pre-income. She spends it all on brutes. This is a lot of friends they're sending over to Juvis and Adams. Clearly they're in a very sociable mood. Let's see what's going to happen here. These sends are absolutely enormous. Adams made the Priestess last wave, which worked for him there. I don't think it's going to be amazing on wave 7 against 4 brutes, though.
Yeah, well, Juvis knows it's coming. He's got a couple of cats. He's got a boosted vet.
Let's see
how many friends he's able to take down.
The sends are just absolutely enormous. 200 for Chuvis, 280 for Adams. Holy moly, I think we're about to see some leaks here on wave 7. Yeah, and Adams, I mean, he's doing better than I expected, to be honest. He does have the power of value on his side, of course. And Chuvis, with that boosted veteran, he's doing very well as well. 81% for Adams. Could have been much worse if we're honest. And 53% for Chuvis likewise. So, even though these sends were absolutely enormous, there's 18 creeps reaching the king. Sure, they're going to take a bunch of king damage, but this could have been way worse here.
Yeah, very respectable hold for Chuvis there, but obviously with the combined leaks, getting their king molested a little bit here, not what they want to see. The real problem, obviously, is Dratch and Lucy getting income fed. A couple of waves on the trot there, able to just fully push to 12 and 13 workers right now.
Yeah. Now, of course, Chuvis and Adams have a bit of a value lead, but they're just way behind in workers. They're falling behind in income as well. And to add insult to injury, they're even behind in Mythium as well. So for every metric that matters, Drakir and Lucy are leading the show.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way so far.
And that's before Drakir's Kingpin power spike kicks in, by the way. He's got 2 of those bad boys charging their stacks right now.
Yeah, now Lucy is Cartel, so you'd expect her income to be up there right now. But yeah, she's doing what you want to be doing here. Pushing hard, getting that advantage, trying to stay ahead, or you know, even coming into the mid-game.
And 61% HP remaining on the side of the Almighty Slackers is not where you want to be. They are definitely within one-shot range if Drakir and Lucy want to go for the old 1-2 punch. All right, Drakir does now get his first Kingpin online. We see his value go through the roof. He's on 1134 now. Obviously, 99 of that value is coming from the Kingpin mana. And Lucy on fire here, wave 9. Only a 25 gold shutdown, but clearly showing how far ahead she is of the rest of the players.
Yeah, for now, again, a little bit of a cartel spike in there, but certainly set up for success so far.
I mean, just look at Chuvis's board. He has Deathcap, Necromarters, Veterans, Bone Crushers, and there's a little wave called number 10 coming up right around the corner. And I think Chuvis might be in a little bit of trouble there. Adams is looking a bit better with his Daphne, with his Kingpin, with his Consort, but the Sens are massive.
Yeah, I mean, if Chuvis had been watching enough Toho videos, he'd know how many boosted vets he needs to clear 10. This isn't it.
Is 1 not the answer?
No, no, unfortunately not.
Unlucky.
He's got plenty of tank value, but yeah, where's the damage?
Now, Chuvis and Adams, they didn't spend their Mythium here. Hopefully they at least spend all of their gold. It looks like they do. Adams has 140. Please spend your gold, Adams. Okay, he goes for an APS on the Kingpin. I mean, he doesn't really have many other options.
Here, but yeah,
he is
but you'd like to
one-shotting
see something tanking for that
brutes.
Kingpin before it can actually put any of that attack speed to
And
use.
the boss is losing HP quickly, but now the melee units are down. That is about all the damage he's going to do. That's a big leak there for Adams. And Chuvis with the boosted veteran, not enough to break through that Ghost Knight. 100%, that's a home run there for Chuvis on 10. Is this enough to just straight up end the game here?
If it isn't, it's putting him into a very, very dangerous position.
Wow. 5%, 3%, 1% game!
Oh, so close.
Whoa! Underdogs no longer! Drakir and FC Lucy clapping the almighty slackers here in game number 1.
And we're seeing why they've had such a clean run so far. I mean, clean is the only word to describe the play there. It was other than a tiny hiccup on 4 that couldn't really be handled any better.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big send.
He cleared it very, very nicely. All those, 60% leak, but all those creeps very low HP.
Yep.
Very easily cleared up by Lucy. Lucy's hold for the 80 on 3 just really set them up to power ahead for the next few waves.
Yeah. Chuvis, though, like, talking about Drakir's wave 4, Chuvis had a little bit of an accident there himself, but 83% leak against pure income sends. He even had more value than Drakir, by the way. Like, this was just a really bad trade for Chuvis. He leaked more to an income send than Drakir did to the full send, and he just never really was able to recover. Like, wave 6 was nice, the 88% leak there for Drakir, but they were both saving, right? So, sure, the leak is bad, it gives them a bit of gold, but Lucy holds, she full covers, they take no king damage, and it's just more time for these mammoth sends on 7. 200 for Chuvis, 280 for Adams. They did quite well, but it wasn't enough.
No, absolutely. I think we're seeing the power of the underdogs.
And it was just the
shining
classic
through that game.
Absolutely, and it was just the classic 1-2 punch, right? They got 40% king damage done on 7, and then they just went straight with wave 10 with another mammoth send, and they just straight up end the game there. Like, it was close, they nearly survived. But even if they had survived, they're just so far behind at this point. I think the underdogs controlled this game extremely well.
Definitely. And pay attention, chat. Those wave 7 sends, 200 and 280. Why send ogres when you can send friends? The power of friendship really put the pressure on there. That was a lot of brutes we got seen. We saw.
We got Sawn, yes. We got to see. We got to see in a large number.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
All right, the next lobby is now open. Let's see if the almighty slackers can bring this one back. They did not seem to be the same team they were in the semi-finals. It felt a little bit outclassed here by the underdogs in game number 1.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see some Fiesta now. I'm hoping for it, but I'm also expecting it. I think, Dratch and Lucy, they've built up a little buffer. They've got a win. in their sleeve, in their pocket right now. I know Lucy likes to switch it up between some very polar opposite playstyles with Castle and Fiesta, so she could be playing anything here.
Definitely,
Chuvis
definitely.
may go back to his roots from the game 1 easy victory in their previous series.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him go back on Fiesta and see if he can pull off that early game powerhouse that did so well against King Dans and Widdowson. Anyway, we're about to find out because game number 2 of your grand finals has just begun.
Okay, no one insta-locking a Mastermind. We're finding out, yeah, we've got one Fiesta on Chuvis. And we have Greed Cartel for Dratch and Lucy staying very stable still here.
Again, not having a traditional Fiesta opener really for Chuvis.
This is the thing though. Chuvis, obviously we saw in game 1 of the previous series, but Chuvis, I think, one of the Fiesta players who does not need he does not need an obvious Fiesta start to do
make
well
it work,
with the playstyle.
100%, 100%. And Adams goes for that lock-in, so he does seem to favour lock-in with Fiesta. That was how they played it in the previous series as well. And he locked in the Priestess. I have to say that's because there's Protector available as a spell. Again, Azeria, obviously a unit that Adams is very good with, but also a perfect match for that Protector spell on Wave 11. It's just an insane combo.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to know the thoughts behind the exact thoughts behind the lock-in Fiesta combo. They've done it two series in a row. They didn't play that in their games yesterday, right?
I don't think so. I think it must be something to do. Maybe they're not pairing Masterminds. Maybe he's just pairing, like, he sees the Protector and he wants the Priestess. It might be something like that.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Chuvis gets the Snail, so Drakir did actually read the Fiesta, but Chuvis is Green Devil. He's gone for one of those non-traditional Fiesta openers, and he's rewarded for it here. Holding against the Snail Send, now Drakir's maybe thinking, okay, well maybe he's not playing Fiesta. And I wonder if Drakir actually goes for a second Snail.
Well, I mean, this is where the mind games come in, you know? Game 1, he sent that after income Snail to Chuvis, and it did wonders with the Crusher 6-worker push, so yeah, maybe he's baited into doing the same again here, and giving Chuvis a very tasty Fiesta.
Well, let's see. He has that 20 Mythium. He does not have the Snail shift clicked, at least. There's some absolutely incredible copy pastas in the chat, by the way. Alright, everybody is saving their Mythium. There will be no Wave 2 Snail coming out from Drakir. Chuvis, who did not add a Tier 1, absolutely fine with that. But again, he isn't getting his Fiesta value yet. Let's see how he plays this one. I assume he goes 6 workers. He does.
Interesting to see Dratch opening straight with the Bounty Hunter. I know your feelings about going Bounty Hunter and not sticking with an Angler for a couple of waves, especially with the patented Pennywise Angler Poly open.
I mean, that is just one of the best openers in the whole of Legion TD2. I can't imagine why he wouldn't go with that. Now, we do see Drakir and Lucy go for a double Dragon Turtle Send here on Wave 3. Chuvis, are you going to add anything? If not, you're going to leak pretty badly. Adams, he has the Priestess. He needs to add something as well, I fear. Otherwise, this could be a happy little accident on Wave 3 for Chuvis and Adams. Okay, Adams is adding a split at least. Chuvis adds nothing, though. Okay.
Well, we'll see. He didn't go with the full send, so it is just that DT.
Yeah, but it just tanks so well against the Green Devil for such a long time.
Surely does, fam.
Adams, are you going to get this heal off, or does the Priestess go down? He heals. Okay, that should be a hold now for Adams. And it is. Okay, so he holds, and Chuvis leaking 56% there against the Dragon Turtle. I think he's fine with that. He has 7 workers. That is Fiesta value. There's another Dragon Turtle coming out from Drakir on Wave 4, and from Lucy, by the way.
We got a lot of Mythium saved up, Chuvis and Adams right now. There's a Mole coming out into Lucy.
So Lucy, she has the Pyro. What does she pair with that on Wave 4? A Yuzora, of course. I mean, the Mole does very, very well at reducing the damage from both the Pyro and the Yuzora, but the Yuzora is just tanking forever on Wave 4. Alright, Drakir has 100 Mythium to deal with, but he has 425 value. I think he should just be fine. He's even somehow ignoring the Dino with his Devilfish. That's an interesting one. And
Very
Lucy against the Mole, I mean, she's just doing fine. I guess she leaks the Mole, but only the Mole? Chuvis leaks 54 to income. Okay, she leaks a couple of chickens as well, but she's fine with that against 140 send. And as expected, Drakir, through the power of value, he does hold that send from Adams.
Yeah, and he's easily gathering a couple more stacks there in the mid for his bounty.
Yeah, those two chickens that slip through Lucy's lane, feeding the bounty hunter. And they even get a little tiny tad of king damage there on wave 4. The Mole getting one slap off on the king before it goes down.
Yeah, you've got to take those. You've got to tickle the king when you can, you know. They'd have loved to see a bit more than that. That was a huge investment to save up that Mythium for you know, not a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it's really showing now. Chuvis' power score is lagging behind the rest of the pack. Drakir going for more income here, so his income is actually 50% higher than Chuvis's, which is kind of not the position you really want to find yourself in. Chuvis,
absolutely not.
Oh, okay, he did kill the Scorpion on 5, but not much else. That's a 78% leak there, just to 3 snails. Sure, he's getting Fiesta value, but is he leaking a bit too much, I wonder? Alright, 9 workers on Chuvis, 100 Mythium stored up, 120 for Adams, who is receiving a double turtle here, but should be just fine with the Devilfish tanking. And a nice split there for him as well. Adams, I expect to be just fine here on wave 6. And Chuvis, who is receiving no send and has the Tantrum Tailraiser, he's going to be just fine as well. Now, when do the Almighty Slackers want to send their Mythium? Maybe they were thinking about wave 7 or 8, but Drakir and Lucy both have potential answers for that. Drakir, of course, can get his Kingpin online for wave 8, and Lucy has just shown the Disciple as well, which is pretty good on wave 8. Now, there's the hold from Adams, and Chuvis and Adams, they do save their Mythium. So, Drakir and Lucy may be starting to fall into the income resend trap, although having said that, how much of a trap is it if Chuvis leaks half the wave here on 7 against a Lizard army?
Well, I mean, depending how big that leak is, he may be happy to leak a little bit to prolong the wave, especially if they're going to be sending on 8. Adams should be perfectly fine here.
Yeah, Adams is going to hold. Chuvis, okay, there is a king up instead of a snail, so is the Lizard army going to give him a juicy Fiesta or not? We're about to find out. And they have a really scary amount of Mythium now, 200 on both Chuvis and Adams. Let's see when they decide to pull the trigger. Now, it is an easy hold, actually, for Chuvis. And it's a Mimic on 8. Okay, that's an interesting one. Let's see if that pays off. I'm kind of worried that this Mimic is just going to get absolutely speed run down by the Disciples on FC Lucy's board.
Yeah, that looks like a distinct possibility.
How many tanks can Chuvis afford to send with that Mimic to keep it alive? Oh! This is something you don't see very often. A 4 eyes on wave 8 into Drakir. I guess he's planning for the Kingpin? But Drakir, oh, he is selling for it. He sells an Aqua, he sells a Poly, he does get that Kingpin online, but the 4 eyes should be able to chew through that pretty quickly.
It'll chew through the Lioness, the Alpha Male, sorry, it'll chew through the Kingpin, but how much of the wave is going to get deleted before that happens?
Most of it, I would imagine. The 4 eyes is wasting its first attacks on the Devilfish at least, so those big beefy Alpha Male and Kingpin do get a bunch of damage done before they get focused. And you said, how many wave creeps? The answer is damn near all of them. In fact, the Fire Elemental is just killing everything. So the 4 eyes gets through, but it's on low HP. And meanwhile, Lucy full holding against the 240 send there.
Yeah, and this looks like a pretty easy cover as well.
Yeah, this is looking rough for Juvis and Adams. They went for a big play. It absolutely did not pay off here on wave 8.
Yeah, things looking a bit ropey here. And thus far, we don't exactly have the best answer to wave number 10 on Chubis either.
Yeah.
The only player who hasn't yet shown any kind of answer for it.
Yeah,
We do have
Adams.
a lot of gold being floated by Chubis right now.
I guess that.
So he is perhaps pulling out a full... No, there is an antler being placed, okay.
Alright, so he goes for the antler there, but still, he's not looking fantastic on the 10th wave. Adams at least has answers with his Berserker, so maybe he gets the Fatalizer out, and there is a send, but it's only income here from Lucy. Drakir going full, though, with a mole.
Yeah, and I think that's going to do wonders.
I think Chubis is...
income send only would chew through this.
Yeah, Chubis not looking great on wave 10 at all, and he's getting a
they're
fairly
choosing to save
decent.
again.
Alright, let's see if it pays off.
I'm a little worried. I mean, we obviously have the full Berserker Fatalizer on Adams here, so he's and with the income send, he's looking like this is going to be fine.
Adams is more than fine, and Lucy, recognising the Fatalizer play is coming up, she doesn't even try to leak him, she just goes with income and king ups, which I think is a good call from her.
Yeah.
Maybe this is signs of life now for Chubis and Adams, depending on how badly Chubis does leak against this send.
Yeah, and I think Dratch and Lucy also not only sending here, but expecting their own send not to come here with the boar and the gate being placed.
Very nice reads from those players.
Very heads up.
Chubis kills the mole, so the mole and the brute are both down. He is leaking a boss on 40% HP, so not ideal, but it's a Fiesta. He can take that. And now...
the Fatalizer's going to easily chew this up as well.
And now Chubis and Adams really do have the pressure advantage. They've got 270 on Adams, 200 on Chubis. Let's see when they want to send. The answer is 11.
It is right here.
We have counter-attack from Chubis. Very good pairing, actually. Counter-attack Fiesta. And Adams, let's see. I have to assume that he still wants that protector for his Azeria. He does. He doesn't have the Azeria yet, however. He could even go for a bit of a leak here himself, even with the Priestess online, because he's just really lacking in damage. But let's have a look. Chubis, his very low value, should go for a leak here, get his counter-attack in. Lucy with 2 boars on the field, though. I don't really see her leaking here. And Drakir with the Protector Kingpin. I mean, he's looking very solid as well.
Yep, some fairly big sends here. 340 on both.
Let's see how quickly this Four Eyes can target down. The Lioness is already gone. The Alpha Male is soon to follow. And now the Kingpin finally is being targeted. Is it too late, though? Will it be able to snipe off the Four Eyes? It's now taking focus. But the Four Eyes wins that trade. The Kingpin is down. And the Gate Creeps, they're not living much longer. Lucy doing extremely well, though. Chubis, 42%. That's a great Fiesta. That's a great counterattack. Lucy full holds, and Drakir 47% leak against the massive send that he receives here on 11.
Yeah, that was a great hold by Lucy.
Adams does hold his own lane, but he won't be able to cover very much at all in the mid. Okay, 2 creeps is fine, but of course, Lucy, she's damn near full covering in the mid for Drakir's leak. And man, this game is pretty rough for Chubis at least. He's very far behind now.
Yeah, and I think looking at the roles, you know, Lucy's set up for the rest of this game, to be honest. I mean, the boars, the disciples, the steeds. You saw the power of the combo with the disciple and the boars in that last wave. The witch with the spam, not nearly as effective when the spam gets half cut down by a charge of those boars. Not quite as oppressive as it once was, but obviously still worked wonders for her there.
Yeah. And the disciple boar combo is just... it's really strong, right? Because you want to send, like, tank spam to waste the Starcaller shots, but you can't because the boars delete it, and then you're just in a bit of an awkward position with what you want to send against a build like this.
Yeah, and the problem is it only gets stronger. It's very few weak waves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So interesting to see where this goes next. Chuvis, he is getting more counterattack value here and more Fiesta value, so looking pretty good, actually, I have to say.
Yeah, he's back up to a very, very respectable amount of Mythium saved up again here.
Yeah, he's leading the pack. He did get the counterattack on 11, the counterattack again on 12. Lucy starting to feel the pressure. She is 290 undervalue here on wave 13. But talking about undervalue, let's have a quick look over on the side of Chuvis and Adams. Chuvis is 400 undervalue and Adams is not far behind. Lucy on fire here. Only a 25 gold shutdown though, so the game is still pretty close.
Yeah, it really is, actually. Going from that early game with basically neither team taking any damage. The creeps reaching the boss for either side once so far this game, and doing a little tickle, but, you know, it's almost back to fully even. Neither team really taking anything significant so far. Chuvis starting to gear up to actually holding waves now, which is cool.
I don't think he's going to repeat that feat on wave 14, however. So we see big sends come out from all four players here, and everybody is massively undervalue. What is it with wave 14, by the way? We seem to always get these mega sends on 14 lately.
Yeah, there has been a few. Dratch being the closest to value of anyone here, but not with, you know, not with the most amazing units. He has a bit of a zoo going on there. But yeah, very big sends coming out from everyone.
Yeah. Chuvis receiving the smallest send, but he's also the lowest value player, and that Ghost Knight is just very difficult for his Doomsday Cannon to chew through. It does just now go down, but the damage has been done. That's going to be a pretty big leak, I think, for Chuvis. Adams, how are you doing? The Protector Azeria is now being overwhelmed. He only has a Millennium as well, no Doomsday, so that's a big leak. 115 for Adams, 84 for Chuvis, 72 for Lucy, and Drakia with that hardened Golem Protector Kingpin. He's doing the best. Baby 49% leak there for him. These guys are going to take massive king damage for Chuvis and Adams. Drakir and Lucy, they're going to fare much better with a smaller leak and a nearly full upgraded king.
Yeah, they've got the king ups, they've got the smaller leaks. Great hold by Dratch there. The power of value shining above any kind of combo.
A resend here from Chuvis and Adams. I have to assume they're huffing some military grade copium here on wave 15, because the only way this play works is if Drakir and Lucy both decide to shift their 800 gold. And oh no, Lucy's spending some.
Some, but not all, you know? She's still got 550 there, she's clinging on to. Dratch is thinking about putting down a gate.
She's spending more gold. No, this is illegal.
Oh, I can't believe it. People spending gold in my Legion TD games. Well, it's not my game, so it's understandable.
Drakir is shifting 600 gold, and Lucy is shifting 350. So let's see if these cheeky little resends get some work done. Be an interesting play if it does.
It really needs to. I think the resend otherwise, allowing both Dratch and Lucy to push and choose any wave to send on. Yeah, Lucy's easily holding this.
Yeah, and Drakir, I mean, he's going to leak, but not terribly, and Lucy might even just cover it. Yeah, Lucy still has a ton of value alive in the mid. Drakir leaking 58%, but this Hail Mary play didn't achieve what it needed to. Imagine if they both shifted 800 gold, though.
Yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened.
They get some king damage done, and they go for another resend. Surely they don't expect the resend.
The problem is, Dratch and Lucy did not push nearly as heavily as I think Chuvis and Adams are hoping for here.
Yeah, they're also spending their gold here on 16.
Yeah, which is some kind of hack that a lot of us Legion players have not actually learned to do. So yeah, I mean, we've got Lucy on plus 100 value here. She's got some good units for the wave. She's got some Yozes. She's got the Disciples.
And
It's looking a little bit ropey here now.
Tuve is actually going for the post-income Kraken here. This really is a Hail Mary play, and I just don't think it's going to work, unfortunately, for the side of the Almighty Slackers.
Yeah, those pyros chewing up the entire wave.
Yeah, Lucy's making wave 16 look easy. She still has half her units still alive. And Drakir, meanwhile, again, it might be a leak, but not a big one. And here comes the massive counter-attack now from Drakir and Lucy. They have a ton of Mythium stored up. Chuvas and Adams do not have the value to hold this. They call GG. They don't even want to see the sends.
I don't blame them. You got to respect the hustle. It was, you know, it could easily have been a big brain play to push for the re there. You know, a little bit of rock paper scissors mentality. If Dratch and Lucy pushed hard for a 16 send, it could easily have been punished. But no, they spent a little bit of gold. They held their 15 sends. And it was their game to lose from that point, really.
Yeah, I think respect for Chuvas and Adams, like they know that they're behind and they have to go for a bit of a Hail Mary play, which they did. It didn't work, but you know, when you are far behind, you do have to go for low probability, high reward plays. They tried it, didn't pay off. Better luck next time.
Yeah, I think it's an understandable play. They tried what they could, and you know the early game, all the way through to that big 14 send was very even, very even. A lot more even than the first game that was obviously cleanly dominated by Lucy and Dratch. So, to hats off to them. They put in a good showing here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just hoping they don't let this get into their own heads and start trying to play in ways that they're not comfortable with in this third game. I mean, we've seen what they can do with their Fiesta and their Chaos plays. So yeah, I hope they keep playing to their own strengths here.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I just want to see the almighty Slackers that we had in the semi-final, because those guys, it seems, were on another level to the Slackers that we have in the finals. But, you know, maybe they're just living up to their team name. They used up all of their effort in the semis, and now it's time to relax during the grand finals. But no, come on, guys. We want to see your fighting spirit come out for the grand finals. We have to see more than 3 games. Don't let the underdogs clean 3-0 this. Let's get at least a game number 4. But they're going to have to step it up, because Drakir and Lucy, they're not just going to hand it to them.
No, absolutely not. Obviously, with the Conquest format now, Dratch and Lucy, a lot less options to them, having already got those 2 wins under their belt. So they'll be a little bit forced into what they're able to pick. No such limitations for Chuvas and Adams, so they can do whatever the hell they like. Yeah, I mean, if we do see a 3-0 here, if we see the underdogs win this last game, they will have played the entire tournament without dropping a game, which is an incredible feat. Very impressive.
Very solid, yeah.
So yeah, that would be great to see. Obviously, still rooting for Chuvas and Adams here. I'm hoping they can pull one back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure all of the Twitch viewers at home are cheering for Chuvas and Adams as well. If not because they want them to win, but just because they want to see some more Legion content. So let's see if they can, with their tournament lies on the line, playing for match point now in game number 3, can Chuvas and Adams at least win 1 game in the best of 5 series? But more importantly, what do they need to change? Like, I don't know. Game 1 in particular, they just felt outclassed. Drakir and Lucy absolutely destroyed that game. Game 2, Chuvas had a bit of a rough one, but Adams played very well, and it was fairly close up until wave 14, and then obviously it kind of went downhill. But they need to mix things up a bit. They need to, I don't know, try something wild. Maybe just roll better, who knows? But they need to do something to get back into this series. And a clean sweep against players of the caliber of Drakir and Lucy is not an easy thing to achieve, but they're going to need to do it if they want to take the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. I think I wouldn't want to see them mix things up too much, to be honest. I think Chuvas's Fiesta, we've seen what it can do. Maybe he does simply need to roll better. He just needs to roll a better Fiesta or a more comfortable Fiesta open, or we just see them go back to the chaos on Adams. I think those two playstyles just work so well for them. But they may just opt to go for something a lot more vanilla for both of them here.
Yep.
We'll see.
Worth pointing out, by the way, with the Conquest format, Drakir and Lucy have both used Greed, they've both used Cartel, so they're going to be forced to mix it up a little bit now in this third game of the series. Chuvas and Adams, of course, they haven't won a game, so they still have all of their options available to them. And with that said, here's game number 3.
Yeah, I'm expecting Castle or Fiesta for Lucy. Yeah, there's Castle.
Castle for Lucy, Cash Out and Cartel for Chuvas and Adams, and YOLO for Drakir. Excellent. Not an amazing YOLO roll, I have to say. Not the worst one I've seen, because I've seen some absolute stinkers in my time, believe you me. This one at least is playable, but it's very heavy on the pierce damage and the fortified armor. Lucy has a fairly nice roll there. She's got, I mean, she could go for a Sakura start if she wanted to. She has Angler as well. Chuvas with his Cash Out. His roll's looking fine. Nothing particularly special there. While Adams, he has Steeds, he has Ocean Templar Gates. He's got a pretty solid roll for the late game, but it's playing Cartel.
Yeah, Lucy opting for the Sakura with Castle. It's a really good pairing. You do have obviously a bit of a danger zone, a little bit of a pain point around wave 7 and 8, and potentially on 10, but she does have answers there. So yeah, I think she's geared up for a Castle play. I think this is the first Castle game we've seen today.
I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right. It might even be the first. No, it's not the first Castle. We had some Castle on stream yesterday, but it's definitely the first we've had today. So all 4 players going for their king ups here. Adams realizing he's being sent from a Sakura opener. He's going to push very hard. And interesting, actually, Chuvas and Adams going for Cash Out and Cartel together. So both opting for those early game focused mastermind options.
Yeah, and with Sakura on the enemy team, you'd like to think they can both get away with a pretty heavy push here. Lucy forced into 3 workers still with the Castle Sakura.
Mm-hmm. And I think Adams is almost certainly going to go to 6 workers as soon as he can afford to. He only really needs to place the slime blob on wave 3 to be able to hold against the snail that Lucy can send.
Adams is snail checking Dratch here, who did add a warg.
Yeah, so it's not going to pay off.
Yeah, he's looking strong still here, and this is great because he didn't really have any answers to wave 3, and now that's a little bit less pressure for that wave for him.
A half decent, like a 60 send on 3, could have been problematic for Drakir. He did have the Fire Archer, which is decent, but not ideal with his tanks. Alright, Drakir.
Yeah, who needs good units when you've got value, and that's what he has now.
He does. He surely does. Chuvas can only send a snail here. Lucy knows it, so she's only adding 1 seedling here. If this was a DT, maybe? But against a snail, never.
Chuvas with the full Hellraiser on 3. Chuvas, my man Chuvas, he loves some masks.
He surely does love some masks. Easily holding against this 40 send here. Presumably going to push to 7 workers and then shift for the Orchid on wave 5. Giving him the answers he needs to hold on 5 and 6. Is there any leak here? There was another snail sent by Adams, but Drakir easily deals with that.
Sure, Dratch leading the pack in workers now. He's gone up to 7, so we've not actually seen the worker lead manifest so far with Chuvas and Adams. Both opted to stay on 6 workers so far. Dratch saving a tiny little bit more than everyone else.
Yeah, so a bit of a lead for Drakir. Interesting, with a roll that looks so weak early, he's actually leading the pack. He has re-rolled now, he's found Nekomata, he's found Bazooka, so he now has some more mixed damage types and an arcane tank, which is pretty useful.
Yeah, definitely. Bazooka, another unit that pairs very well with Boar in the later game. Oh. So he's set up very nicely for later now. Bit better than his original YOLO role.
Chuvis sent DT King up, and the Sakura lived with very little HP. I wonder, had that been a snail, would the Sakura have died?
Lucy's loving life now. Anytime you're a castle player with the most workers in a game at any point, I think you're already very happy with the game state.
Yeah, and she's achieved this already on wave 5. She also has that Sakura giving her bonus 15 value every single wave it survives. So, yeah, just everything stacking up nicely for Lucy. And Chuvis and Adams, remember, this is match point for them here. They need to make something happen.
Yeah, they really do. So we see Chuvis placing the Antler. He's not taking any risks here to shift for that Orchid.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you realise this, but the Antler, it actually costs the same amount as an Orchid. So, a bit of a decision.
Wait, does 200 gold equal 200 gold?
It does! It does!
British maths.
So, yeah, Chuvis deciding for the Antler over the Orchid. Interesting one, because it's not like it makes him any better on wave 7. But, sure. And Adams now with 10 workers, he is taking the lead back from Lucy. He has a decent amount of Mythium stored up, 130, 100 for Chuvis, and I have to assume this is going to be a wave 7 send. We do have the Lizard Army coming out from Lucy. Will Adams and Chuvis pull the trigger, or do they want to save a little bit longer? Very, very slow wave 6 here for Adams with his 460 value playing on the edge. In fact, I think he's going to Pro League. He is. Oh, this is interesting now. With Adams going for a very, very long wave 6, he will get to at least 180 Mythium, and there we see those friends on 7. Name a more dynamic duo. Triple Brute from Adams, Mole from Chuvis. Drakeer's going for a full send as well, but Lucy only sending that income into Adams. Let's see what happens. Drakeer, he's on 800 value. He has a Nekomata. It's not fully stacked. It's only got 6 there, so no healing for that kitty. And Lucy, she's not even boosting one of her veterans here.
Yeah. Will the power of the 0 gold buff be enough for Dratch here?
I don't think it will. The send is massive. 200 here for him. 3 brutes walk into a lane. And 160 for Lucy. The Mole presumably sent in case of veteran boost, but no veteran has been boosted on this glorious day. So her Sakura is definitely going down. That will be a leak for Lucy, and not a small one. And Drakeer, he just barely misses the Brute there, leaving it on 3% HP. That's 83% leak for Drakeer, 56 for Chuvis, and 62 for Lucy as well. Adams, the player receiving income, he does leak as well, but not too badly. Although, having said that, the fact that the players leak here when they go for this big send, ideally one of them would have held, and then it would have been a massive win. But for now, still in favour of Chuvis and Adams, but not quite as much as it could have been.
Yeah, for sure. They're happy with this. They've got the worker lead back. Things, fairly even across here, but Adams is making use of his cartel gold now.
Yeah, he's certainly pressing that early game advantage, and Chuvis is doing a pretty good job of that as well. Though having said that, Lucy is for sure keeping up in income with the other players, and remember, she's playing Castle, so if this game goes too long, she might just pull ahead.
Yeah, I think if you're Lucy, you're super happy with how the game's going here still. It's like I said, that the wave 7 or the wave 8, wherever you're getting pressured into the most, is typically one of your only 2 really dangerous spots with the Castle Sakura.
Yeah.
The next being 10, and she's already preparing for that with Daphne, so yeah, she's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Adams and Chuvis, they have a decent chunk of Mythium saved up. The workers are a lot lower in this game than they have been in the previous, with only Adams having 12 workers and Drakeer even on 9. That's pretty bad for wave 9.
Yeah, it really is. we've got the gate down for Adams. We've got a boosted Orchid for Chuvis. He's pumping a little bit of gold into that. Neither player are looking particularly strong next. Chuvis does have a Halo in his role, but other than that, I'm a little worried for them.
He's even spending 10 gold on boost. That's money he'll never see again. But Lucy did harden here, so she was expecting the wave 9 send, perhaps. And let's see if that backfires on wave 10. Not the biggest problem to have a de-hardened Mudman on 10, but it counts, you know?
It does, it does. Maybe all 4 players banking on the fact that there's Venture in the game, so who on earth would send them on 10?
Oh.
But unfortunately, everyone is ignoring that mantra.
Wow, and the sends are pretty large. We've got Mimic from Drakir, Witch from Lucy, Ogre from Chuvis, Imp, Mole, and some spam coming out from Adams. Adams, he's got 290 gold to play with. What is he going to build here? It looks like he's just going for a second gate, so the Witch should be pretty effective against that. And Chuvis does get his Halo out. It does have the APS buff as well. He's got a nice little bridge here to waste time for the boss. It's going to have to draw a circle around the map before it ever reaches that Halo. Let's see. Lucy double boosts her veterans. She has 2 Daphnes and a Ranger, so that's pretty intense damage against the boss. Is it going to be enough? It looks like the answer is yes. That boss just dies very, very quickly. Sure, she loses a Sakura stack, but it's a full hold, and she's very happy with that. Meanwhile, Drakir, it looks like a leak, but not a bad one. Adams, meanwhile, 87%. So Chuvis, he was able to hold with the Halo and the Mask Bridge, but Adams, he couldn't replicate that, and as a result, these guys are going to take some pretty big king damage here.
Yeah, that was a very nice hold by Chuvis. Some expert positioning on those masks to really waste the maximum amount of time from the boss and result in a full hold. So that could have been a lot worse for him. Yeah, really, really nice stuff.
And now, Chuvis and Adams, they were decently ahead after the Wave 7 play, but after the Wave 10, everything shifted back in favour of Drakir and Lucy. They have more King HP, they have a ton more income now that Lucy's Castle Power Spike is kicking in, and man, I'm feeling a little bit worried for the almighty Slackers. They're going to need to pull something out of the bag.
Yeah, when you're a castle player with any kind of economic boost spell, you're always happy coming into an even game post Wave 10, and it's not just even. She's way ahead. She's loving life.
And we have Venture from all 4 players, and Lucy ahead in workers, ahead in income, ahead in value. I mean, this girl is on fire.
So now the question is where the next send comes. Obviously, with Venture in the game, and probably all players realizing or making an educated guess that everyone is venturing. No one's looking particularly weak on 13.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 14 or longer. There could easily be some play to be had of going beyond 14. Obviously, knowing the Venture Gold's going to kick in, and they can potentially gear in to be overvalue 13 and strong 14.
Chuvis and Adams, they're expecting a Wave 12 undercut. It looks like we have boost here, and more to the point, Adams sold his Graal, which was in the Ocean Templar spot, in order to get this Hellgate on 12. So the pair are feeling a little bit worried about a Wave 12 undercut, but it doesn't come. And everybody's Venture paying off nicely in this game, it seems.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that little bit of boost, not too much difference for them. The Ocean Templar gates are going to be strong from here on out.
Oh, even with the Hellgate, Adams is just on the verge of leaking no send. Okay, I guess they had a very good reason to be worried about a Wave 12 undercut then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, now they can try and fix their lane with the Venture Gold, but nobody's spending their Mythium. Everybody's going a little bit longer here in this crucial game number 3. Drakir reading it very well. He actually adds a couple of great boars here on Wave 13, garbage units on Wave 13, but of course the send does not come here. Lucy, the only player in the game to be plus on recommended value. She's plus 75 there. Just the insane scaling that she has with that income, with the worker lead, with the value lead. And now we have another Twitch chat. You won't believe it, but I swear this is the truth. Another Wave 14 send in this Nova Cup Grand Finals coming out
No one
from
possibly
Lucy.
could have seen it coming.
And Chuvis and Adams, they save their Mythium. Well, this is really interesting now, guys, because, I mean, the sends are massive. Chuvis and Adams are both comfortably undervalue, and they only have 51% king, so this is a big risk they're taking here. If this backfires, their tournament dreams end right here and now, and the underdogs take their very first Nova Cup victory. But if Chuvis and Adams can survive against this send, which is looking like a tall order, but if they can, they're in a really good position in this game. So let's see what happens.
We do have 3 tantrumed Hellraisers for Chuvis.
And
That
an
is
MPS.
a lot of deeps.
It surely is a lot of deeps. They are melting the wave, but he doesn't have very much tank value to back it up. Now we'll see his Mask Kite in action. Very beautiful there, keeping the slugs away from his real damage dealers for as long as possible. They do now start to go down. Chuvis is doing very, very well, actually. Insanely well. He's going to kill everything apart from the Centaur and 2 low HP slugs. Adams does leak a bit more with that home run. Do they survive here? 50% king HP. Very few king upgrades. Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, I don't think it's enough. Oh, no, it was so close. But the underdogs, they win. Their very first ever Nova Cup Grand Final victory goes to Drakir and FC Lucy. Really well played today, guys. This was absolutely unreal. They made Chuvis and Adams look easy.
Has there ever been a tournament run without a single dropped game? There may easily have been. I don't know. I don't have the stats, but very clean, very, very, very clean from.
Very clean indeed. I mean, this Wave 7 looked pretty good for Chuvis and Adams. Obviously, if Adams could have held, it would have been incredible. But it was looking pretty good for those guys. But then the Wave 10 send, and like Lucy holds, Adams leaks massive. They take a ton of king damage there. And then everybody holding on until Wave 14, where Lucy and Drakir let rip. Chuvis did so well there, so well, but it just wasn't enough with Adams leaking 100%, and that spells the end of Chuvis and Adams' tournament journey. So commiserations to those guys. They played very well to get here. We saw them play extremely well in the semi-finals, but man, Drakir and Lucy, it seems, are just on another level today.
Absolutely clean, very, very clean. You know, I can respect the risk that Chuvis and Adams took there. And you know, it was so close to glory. Just that little bit better of a hold, ever so slightly, and they could have potentially swung that game into a winning position.
It was just
They
so
could obviously
close, man.
see that they were behind Lucy with her incredible scaling that was already kicking in with the power score.
Yeah.
You know, they knew the game state, and they made a play around that. But yeah, beautiful play by Dratch and Lucy. Very, very impressive.
Really cool stuff. And respect for Adams and Chuvis to go for that risky play, right? Because if it paid off, and it was so close, they had 3 creeps left on the king, all super low HP. Like, if that had paid off, they would have had such a big lead with all the Mythium in the bank to send whenever they want, pretty much, against Drakir and Lucy. But man, it didn't work out for them, and the underdogs take a 3-0 sweep here in the grand finals. All right.
Useful stuff.
And I think we should probably have a bit of a winner's interview lined up with Drakir and Lucy. So let's see if I can get those guys to hop into one of the channels here real quick. Hold on, I will sort out roles very quickly. Interestingly, because Drakir and Lucy have not won a Nova Cup before, they don't have the roles to enter this channel, which is cool.
They never won a Nova Cup?
They'd never won a Nova Cup until now! Alright.
They'll be ecstatic, I'm sure.
All right, I'm letting them know where to go. And hopefully we have the winners with us very soon to share their thoughts about this extremely long in the making Nova Cup Championship.
Well, go on.
Hey,
Well,
Drakia, congratulations, dude. Oh, Lucy, hello. We have both the underdogs here. Guys, surely now this is your month to shine.
Early.
I mean, I just
It's
have to say, guys, massive congratulations. Like, that was one of the cleanest 3-0 grand finals we've seen in a long time. You guys played out of your goddamn minds for a very well-deserved Nova Cup win here this month. Really well played, guys.
Thank you.
not a single game dropped through the whole
Yeah.
weekend. Very
Yeah.
impressive. Very impressive. Do you think the momentum helped?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they were under pressure, so we just played very clean the entire tourney, so we're confident.
Some beautiful play. Beautiful play.
Yeah.
Dratch, your status as the player in this tournament with the highest pity points. 709. Do you think that helped power your underdog status?
Yeah, I mean, like my luck has to even out somehow, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, with your win now, you can't use the
Yeah.
underdog name going forward, right? You're going to be changing to the
Yeah.
updogs?
yeah, no, we have to
Hey.
change our name.
Rebranding.
What's up, dog?
Good one.
I'm so thank you so much for acknowledging.
Oh man, you guys must be absolutely ecstatic. I think every month I sit here and say, always the bridesmaids, never the brides. But this month you've proved everybody wrong, and you have probably the longest coming tournament win of all time. Like,
Yeah.
the last 12 months at least, I've been saying, surely this month is
Yeah,
yours.
I think we started playing Nova Cup together in April last
Yeah.
year.
Okay, so not
yeah,
quite a year.
Yeah,
But-
11.
Oh, wow,
That's
though.
the 11th one.
Yeah, insane. I mean, this has been a pretty exciting finals, over a bit quickly for my taste. I'm sure the Twitch chat viewers like to see a nice hard-fought best of 5, but I can't fault you guys for never letting off the pressure. Like, you just didn't give Chuvas and Adams a minute to breathe.
Sorry for the people waiting for the drops.
Get wrecked though, right? I mean, so how does it feel after all of this time to finally win an Nova Cup?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. We have been grinding Legion, been climbing on the
Impeccable.
ladder, so I'm pretty confident in my play.
And talking about grinding Legion, Lucy, I think you play a game or two every now and then as well, don't you?
Yeah, every like other day or.
For those of you who
Um,
don't know, Lucy might be the person with the most games played in this season. If she's not, she's got to be up there.
I
She's
don't think I am.
basically playing Legion 24/7. But it's paid off. You know, here's your very well deserved victory, and I mean, commiserations to the losers. But you guys, it just seemed we're on another level today.
Yeah, we played pretty well, let's say. I finally got to carry Drac for once in some games without inting.
I mean, the castle top power score helps, yeah.
Yeah, I think both
Yeah,
times, because you played Castle yesterday as well, right, in the group stage, and both times
Yeah.
we've seen you play Castle on stream, you've always been the top power score by like wave 5. How do you do it, Lucy? What's the secret?
I don't know. I just played so much Cartel that you know.
You play so much Cartel that you're used to being at the bottom of the power score, so when you flip it upside down with Castle, you're miles ahead of the pack. Yeah,
I feel
the
like I'm more
mindset.
behind when I play Cartel.
yeah.
It's just the mindset.
Yeah.
Stay in the
Yeah.
cartel mindset. Just forget about the fact that you clicked castle and hope for the best.
Push the same, just you get to be more ahead.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. I think both times you were on like 8 or 9 workers by wave 4 playing Castle, which is just unreal. And clearly in both games you managed to translate that into being a late game monster. carrying your team to victory. So really well played there, Lucy, and of course well played, Drakir, as well.
He did some stuff too.
Yeah, Drakir helped, you know. All right, guys, I think that's about all we have time for on this Novacast. It seems a pretty quick one this month. But again, massive congratulations to Drakir and Lucy finally winning a Nova Cup. Very, very well deserved, guys. You played extremely well this month. And of course, all of the usual shout outs go to the tournament organisers, Schnerd, Natto Dog, Slinky Dinky with his wonderful bots, and Kidev as well. All of those guys put in endless amounts of work behind the scenes to let the tournaments run smoothly. So thanks to you. Thanks to Auto Attack Games, and of course, a big shout out to all of the players, winners and losers alike, for having an excellent Nova Cup this month. Nick Tier, any last words from you?
Probably just cap it off with an FC Lucy.
I love how the microphone always cancels out the claps. you have to say the claps.
Imagine.
They can see the claps.
Yeah, sure, you can see.
All
I
right.
have it printed in my mind.
Drakir and Lucy, I think it's only right that we allow the champions to have the final say on the stream. So either of you guys have anything to say before we end the stream?
Nerf Fiesta Pixie.
Okay, and on that bombshell, that's all we have time for this month, guys. Make sure you're back for the April Nova Cup next month, where we'll have the Up Dogs trying to reclaim their crown. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Twitch chat, goodbye.